So then Monsanto is one of the main agricultural biotech companies that was talked about in this film, and they're getting a lot of hate because, I think it's because it said that they are using more pesticides than what has been used in previous years. But because of BT and Roundup Ready GMOs, farmers are making more money. Their farms are being saved from what they call illnesses in plants, and they are able to provide for their families. And then Monsanto, like I said, was getting a lot of hate because a lot of people were reading inaccurate studies and information about how Roundup Ready was causing birth defects and cancer. So people weren't reading true information, so they were jumping to conclusions before actually finding out what was true about what they did. So then 3 scientists were, I think, the main ones in this film, or ones that had a lot of influence. And the first one is Dr. Allison, I don't know how to pronounce the rest of her last name either, but she was big into GMOs and she supported them. And she said from the beginning of the film that it's frustrating to hear about people who are against GMOs because most of the time they don't research enough before deciding that they're against it, and before making the final decision that they don't support GMOs. And then she also thought that the people in Hawaii didn't research enough before passing the bill, and that it was passed too early before they had gotten enough information about it. And then also throughout the film, she kept mentioning scientific literature and how important it is to read that literature before, like I said, jumping to conclusions about things. She said that she thinks that it's really important to base what you believe off of science because most of the time it is true and that is where facts are. And then Dr. Dennis Gonzalez was one of the first scientists that we saw in the film, and he supports GMOs, and he said that there's no real proof that they are harmful to eat, and he was actually part of the genetic engineering experiment about the rainbow papaya, so he helped basically bring them back because of his experiments and his research. And then Charles Benbrook, he's one of the main scientists because a lot of people go to him when they want to learn more about anti-GMOs and what that's all about. They actually found out that the information that he has released, his work, is biased because he would receive funds from certain companies and that influenced him during his experiments and his studies. So basically they said that he would have a conclusion and then he would find data that supported it. So he would make a conclusion and then he would do an experiment that would lead to it instead of doing an experiment and then making a conclusion based off of the results. So his information is not accurate. So that was kind of interesting for me to learn because I didn't know that actually happened. So yeah, that was the film, and so now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of GMOs. So